Welcome to the Introverted Business Experience. This is Campbell. For some, he does need a introduction, but for many, actually, he doesn't. He's very well known in this industry for his many feats. But I'll leave the introduction to himself.
Thank you, Brent. So for anyone who hasn't heard of me, my name is Craig Campbell, based in Glasgow, in Scotland, in the UK. Been in the SEO space for 20 years now, which is a long time. And now, these days, I focus a lot on affiliate marketing, consultancy, training, and buying and selling websites. But in the past, I have been there in the bedroom, been a freelancer, built up my own agency, and a whole bunch of stuff in between. So it has been a fun ride.
It's quite exciting for many that don't know this. When I initially began, I was the kid who started off with zero money, and I had a few people I would look up to and talk to. One of them was actually Craig. I did an interview with him, which I will put the link to in the description. But other than the interview, he always guided me, like he always guided me with a lot of things. And one thing actually stuck with me. I don't know if you remember this, probably not, because you're very busy. But at one point, I was looking to start an affiliate marketing website because I own some myself. And back then I was picking a niche and I was looking for really low hanging fruit. And you said, I remember this, you said, Brent, if you want to become big, you need to be able to box with the big guys. So you told me to not go for the low hanging fruit and just get into something I was passionate about. And actually, years later, that turns out to be very true. If I would have picked low hanging fruit, I don't think I would have been hanging on as much as I would be doing now. So yeah, how did you start though? Like you told me to pick something I was passionate about, but what made you start with affiliate marketing? How did you go about all that stuff?
So for me, it was relatively easy. I picked things like SEMrush, which was very easy. You were getting 40% recurring monthly revenue from the likes of SEMrush and a whole bunch of other SaaS tool providers. So it was something I was passionate about because obviously I like SEO. It's something that I knew a lot about, and it's something that came easy for me. Now, people say, but SEMrush is, SEMrush, and they're a massive company, and, you could never compete and stuff like that. I would argue the exact opposite. I found it relatively easy to do that and get some of my videos ranked for tools within SEMrush and how to do this and how to do that and a whole bunch of other stuff. So like I say, you can sit there and maybe look at, some, sewing machine niche or something crappy like that. But why not go on and play with the big boys? You've got to have confidence in your own ability. And why shouldn't I be making money in with the big boys? That's in my mentality. And I've always decided to if someone says I can't do something or I shouldn't be able to do something, then I will go and try and break that trend. Yeah. In the same way that people say, Craig, you will never make it as a speaker. Your accent's too rough. You don't dress appropriately. Well, fuck you guys. I'm going to give it a go. And I still go on stage with the shorts and the t-shirt on, not your typical corporate guy. And I would think that I've been able to put my own stamp on the space. So why not? You've got to give things a go and see where it takes you.
It's pretty exciting, especially if you've been known for a lot of shenanigans, things that no other people are known of, such as a while back you bought the domain of a politician, I believe. And you actually made the news with that. Is that something that you dabble around in still, or was it just for fun? Or
the Nigel Farage, who the politician was, yes, it was a kind of PR stunt. It was for fun. And the reason I'd done it is people often say to me, Craig, amazing domain names don't expire that often. it's once in a blue moon. That's not true. You know, even guys like very smart politicians take their eye off the ball, or maybe not computer literate, or whatever the reason might be. And I decided, one, to use it as an education thing. You know, good domains do expire. And two, it was a bit of a PR stunt. You know, SEO is a very boring industry, and how do we get newsworthy content out there? You can't say Brent Jacobs launched a sewing machine website and that's going to make the news. You have to do something out of the box. So I got a bit of stick for it from certain Nigel Farage fans and stuff like that, but it worked out in my favor, and I think I won out of that. You know, I got the message out that I wanted to get out, and I got some PR, so it was win-win.
I actually said something very interesting there, that SEO is a boring industry, and I would totally agree. Like nowadays, especially recently, we see a lot of 2010 stuff coming back, and it's always the same thing rehashed in a new code. You know, how do you, as somebody, like, do you like? Obviously, you don't have all the time to test stuff because you're traveling for conferences and stuff. How do you stay ahead of the game? Are you just focusing on the macros, or is there any in-depth testing involved by your personal team? Like, how do you define what's working and what's not? Like, for example, nowadays we see a lot of CTR boosting. I would say that really had a spike 2 years ago, if I'm correct. Holy Stocks began with that. How do you keep yourself from going back into these old strategies that are just rehashed as new shiny objects? How do you make sure that what works?
I mean, you've got to test. That's the bottom line. And obviously, I've got a team here who test stuff. What I would also say is something you say, is, Craig, you travel a lot, you might not have the time to test.
Yeah.
Now, the flip side of that is I travel a lot and I'm sitting down with smart people like Holly Starks, having a beer and so on and so forth. So when you're out and about and traveling and actually sitting with these people, you actually pick up a lot of stuff. So, of course, I will go away and, Holly Stark's doing her thing with her phones and her MacBooks. I love Holly Stark. She's great at what she does, and I always listen to what she's got to say. And yes, I will go away and say, fuck it, I'm going to try that stuff. Does CTR still work? I believe it does. Yeah. And yeah, you're right, though. A lot of people try and rehash stuff, call it something else, give you some other bullshit that, worked 10 years ago and, whatever. I think I'm experienced enough to be able to identify what's worth testing and what's not. And, exactly. I think for any SEO out there, the SEO has a lot of moving parts, whether that's site speed, whether it's schema, whether it's on page, whether it's link build, whatever. There's certain things that move the needle, and there's certain things that people obsess over that probably have a very marginal difference. My job is to make sure that I'm ticking as many boxes as I can on the stuff that actually moves the needle, rather than getting caught up in the whole other side of it, and try to prove that I'm some crazy tester that tests everything. I couldn't give a shit about a lot of the tests, because they're meaningless, they're garbage, and my experience tells me that. And but anything that's worth testing, 100% test it. I think we all know some of the kind of well-known names out there who test a lot of stuff, and yeah, they blow shit up and all that stuff as well. It's easy to look at what they do and take what's working and use it in your own strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if I'm correct, you started off as an agency owner, and I wonder is, why did you pick SEO? Because SEO is, well, arguably the harder sell, right? Like if you go with Google Ads or Facebook Ads, well, the results are far quicker, so it's far easier for the business owners to, well, determine whether you're worth your money or not. Why would you go with SEO? What made you pick SEO as the industry to hop into? And how did you find out that you could potentially reach success in this?
So SEO is something I've always done from a very early age. However, when I started my agency, it was like 2005, and I had my agency up until about 2015. Paid ads wasn't as big a thing. Paid social media wasn't a thing. SEO was the thing that you get into. You know, I started out prior to that as a really shitty web designer. And I think most of us have tried to fuck around with websites and been really bad at it. You know, I decided at that point, you know, let's try and find out if there's an easier job than web design, and that was SEO. So that was obviously in the early 2000s. You know, social media wasn't a big thing, and stuff like that. So I've always been really good at SEO, and why not focus in that area? And I've always kind of focused in that area. Now, yes, I do YouTube. Yes, I do paid ads. Yes, I can do all of this other stuff, email marketing stuff. But SEO is where I learned my skills back in the day. And even when I had an agency, I had to decide, do I become a full agency, or do I cut away the crap that I don't like, including web design and paid ads and all that stuff? And I'd done just an SEO agency. I didn't want to do web design. There was a short period of time where we did do web design and stuff, but I've always liked SEO and always decided to focus on what I'm good at and what I enjoy, rather than trying to, you know, do other things that I'm maybe less skilled at or less experienced at. You know, you can pay a guy to do that other stuff for you. So SEO was always my thing, and decided to stick with it.
I think SEO is one of these things that a lot of people, especially back in the day, me, you've told me this countless of times, that we overcomplicate stuff. You know, it's like a lot of people, especially nowadays, make SEO sound like something very complex, which if you dig deep enough, it becomes quite complex. But in reality, if you focus on the macros, it's an easy thing, right? Like it still just comes down to content, links, you know, good optimization, and a nice website. Basically, that's the simplistic form of it. Now, of course, this isn't always the case. So when did you start seeing that you had to implement different stuff like email marketing? Because obviously you start with SEO, but if you start just with SEO on affiliate websites, you miss out on a lot of money, right? Like email marketing is a big chunk of the money. When did you start dabbling into that? Was that a big learning curve, or was that something you rather outsourced?
No, I was experienced enough to be able to do it all anyway. You know, when you start out in the gutter, so to speak, when you're starting out with your own business, you kind of have to do a lot of this stuff yourself anyway.
Yeah.
So I found email marketing when it came to affiliate. You know, I had an agency for 10 years. I knew what email marketing was, and so on and so forth. So I find email marketing quite easy. Um, Others might find it difficult. You can outsource it, but the big thing I would say on that is data collection, whether that be through a Facebook pixel, whether that's collecting people's emails, whether that's, you know, push notifications or whatever it might be. 90% of people leave a website without doing anything. You have to collect that data. It is important, not only from a CTR conversion and all that kind of perspective. It's just important to do that. You know, retarget, all that kind of stuff is hugely important. And I think, you know, the game has changed or evolved a lot in recent years, and you kind of cannot just rely on SEO traffic. You want to grab traffic from as many different sources as you possibly can. And emails is you know, if you've got a website and you're not collecting emails, or you don't have a Facebook pixel on there, you're you're doing yourself a massive disservice.
For people listening, now what Craig is really saying is, on average, data shows this, on average, 3 to 7% converts from the first visit on your website, right? Many people, they don't do anything to reach the other 97 to 93%. On average, 30% of that big chunk doesn't convert, but that still leaves up to 67, 63% that you are not reaching out. Now, SEOs often have this complex where they feel like they're superior to any other marketing channel and they just focus on that certain channel. If you are not investing in remarketing, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I've seen this myself. I've done that myself. And it's something very easy to set up. Now, when we talk about remarketing, there's this new trend that's really booming right now, right? That's DM remarketing. Is that something you're doing? What's your opinion on that?
It's not so much for me personally, just in the niches and stuff that I'm in. But I think in terms of remarketing, technology is getting a lot better. I know people are doing DMs. Even people are marketing people through SMS messages. Whatever works in your industry. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say car garages. Your car needs serviced yearly. Now, a lot of garages out there get someone in on whatever date and service their car. They know that that person needs their next service on the next, 12 months later. You need to use, whether it's SMS, whether it's DM, whether it's an email, whatever, you've got an open market there. Just send them a link to your booking form, get them back in. That shit converts really well. So how you decide to reach out to people, I think you have to think about it cleverly and make sure it's landing in the right place. But I think that differs from niche to niche. I see a lot of DMs that are spammy as hell, and you're just like, bugger off, dude. And I constantly block these people. So I'm not a huge fan of spamming the living daylights out of people, but I can see how strategically, if it was done properly to the right audience, it can work very well.
Actually, I apply, but I do cold DMing. This is something that I start applying basically for people listening. I'm going to give away one of my client acquisition strategies. I wrote a Python script that scrapes Sales Navigator based on the input that I give it and gathers all the information necessary, such as the phone number and email. And I make a connection. I reach out to them, and I follow up with them. I send them an email and a DM. Of course, what many people do wrong, and it's like you said, they spam. If you're not providing any value to the prospect in any way, then 99% of the time they're going to leave you there. They're going to either block you or it's gonna reflect negatively on your brand. Like, you have to think long-term game. But if you provide value, then it can be quite profitable. So I would say DMing, it's a thing, but you need, like, I find it very intrusive, so I'm not a big fan of it. For those that are looking how to do it, easy texting is very cheap to get started with that. But yeah, I would say it has some future in it. I wouldn't say, like, nowadays a lot of people say email marketing is dead. I wouldn't say that by a long shot. It's still very valuable. I just think that marketing in itself, even SEO, is becoming more more competitive. And if you are not adjusting, not adapting, you're falling off the bandwagon. So yeah, I think it's all about providing value. Now, of course, you're providing a lot of value on your website. Like, you provide free courses in some cases. Is that, like, why is that? Is it just marketing to, like, you're only doing consultation calls lately, right? Speaking. Yeah. And yeah, so why the free courses?
You, as an affiliate, I can give away a free course and I can get a lot of eyeballs on it, giving it away for free. I can make a lot of money through affiliate marketing, not in a kind of sleazy, horrible, salesy way, but if people come into this industry and they want to learn, they can do a free course. They will then understand that they're going to need a SEMrush or an Ahrefs or whatever it might be. And of course, I'm going to guide them to the tool. So a lot of people say, Craig, it's ludicrous doing that. Of course, I make money for it. It's not for the good of, my health. I've got to be paid as well. Yeah. But I don't need to take money out of the pockets of someone who's looking to learn some of the basic stuff. So, exactly. Courses work well, videos work well, offering value up front, and then people might come back and pay for consultancy or training or one-to-one coaching. So it's all relative. You've got to put out to demonstrate your knowledge. no matter what, there's so many people doing SEO and all that kind of stuff, but why should someone pick me over someone else?
Yeah.
And I think doing
I
that.
I get that. I mean, it's like I'm somebody I absolutely love oversharing. I do that way too much. I try to give most of my shit away for free. You could like I think it's nothing is really for free, I would say. Like if you're sharing, let's say, a course for free, it's not really for free because in the end you're getting something in return, whether it's brand awareness, whether it's a big network, which eventually will result into a bigger net worth, or you're always getting something back by providing value. So I would say providing value is always a good thing, even if you're not directly making money from it. I think most people in business, in the SEO industry, they focus too much on getting that immediate buck, and I that's something I had to learn myself too. Think if you provide value and play the long game, that's where the big money is at. Especially because you need to build a sustainable business. Everybody can make 10,000 in no time, but try to do that consistently. Build a sustainable business. That's where the difficulty is at. So reputation is very important. Now, what I find really interesting is press releases and stuff because that's very booming right now. Would you say that an SEO strategy can function without PR? What's your take on PR nowadays? Or
I enjoy PR. I think when it comes to link building, I think you've got to diversify the
yeah,
type of links you get. And PR is a clean, effective way to do that.
yeah,
Obviously it can help you with your brand and all that kind of stuff, but purely from a link building perspective, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want to have some good PR out there with all these links pointing back to your website? It's insane not to do it, but I think diversity when it comes to a link building profile is important. I think Google are able to determine the good from the bads, and obviously they can look at some of the kind of automated junk that's out there and
yeah,
some of the trash link building techniques that are out there. And I think we have to again evolve, and PR is one of those things that I think is clean, tidy. It's also a deliverable for if you're working with clients. It's something you can quite comfortably show
yeah.
to a client. Say, guys, this is what I've worked on. Here's the story. Here it is. Here's the amount of links you got from it. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. So I think it ticks all the boxes.
Now, you're completely right because clients love seeing PR, especially because it's something you can easily show. And people who are like, yeah, look at me, I'm on the news website. I do think there's a lot of scamming involved. If you do PR, you should settle with verified sellers like Nixon Lee, um, where you are absolutely certain of the results they book. So I do think PR has its usage. As something entirely different though, like you've been in business for a long time. You said this yourself, right? Would you still recommend SEO or affiliate marketing as a business model to new people entering, or what would you tell them to approach it differently?
No, I think it's I'd still obviously recommend SEO to any business out there. If you're missing out, if you're not, the big thing with SEO is SEO traffic, even to this day, still converts the best.
Yeah,
If we can get 1 million hits a month through organic search, it costs what it costs. It's not like paid ads where you're paying for 1 million clicks. It's cost effective. It's a long-term solution. Now, yes, I've got websites out there that 38% of the traffic comes through SEO, 20% comes through paid ads, another 20% comes through social media, and so on and so forth. I think that's healthy, but I think no matter what, affiliate managers will be able to verify this. Organic traffic still converts the best, and I've got affiliate managers all over the world chasing me, going, Craig, can you work in this vertical, because we know that SEO traffic converts the best, and we want you to to come into this niche and work with us and all that kind of stuff. So I would always recommend it to people. Now, I think 2 people though, I wouldn't say just sit there and wait for SEO to start. If budget allows, why wouldn't you be throwing some of it at paid ads? Why wouldn't you be throwing it at other traffic? You've got Quora ads, there's just so many different places where you can pay for traffic. Now, if budget allows, yes, make sure that you do concentrate in SEO, but you can instantly get traffic from these other sources. And I think you'd be stupid as a business owner to ignore the instant success that paid traffic brings. But I will always fight the corner of SEO and say, get it as part of your strategy, because I think too many people now are focusing purely on paid and they ain't doing any SEO. And again, there's money on the table there that you're missing out on.
It's funny that you mentioned Quora, because obviously you know Gareth Dane really well.
Yeah.
He's one of my previous mentors. He's been off social media for a long time, but back in the day, I used to work for him, really cheap, but he taught me a lot. And one of the things that I had to do for him was actually identify keywords that were ranking page 1 with little to no answers on Quora for it. So Quora, for people that are listening, you can actually look up Quora on Ahrefs or SEMrush, and you can find out keywords they're ranking for. And if you filter it by top 10 keywords, the keywords ranking in top 10, and you look for a decent search volume with very little to no answers that are very detailed, something you can easily compete in with a more detailed, more value-backed answer, then if you start answering them, you basically can hijack the position there. It's free traffic to your brand, free traffic to your website. Is that something you have done?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's stupid not to. I think there was and is an opportunity there, and I think it'd be stupid not to grasp it.
Exactly. I think it's an easy thing, that's often overlooked because it's so simplistic. I think people often want to make it too difficult. See that a lot in the SEO industry. Now, what's very interesting is like you said, SEO traffic is still the best converting one, without doubt. I would say that's mostly because you're already reaching out to people who have a problem, they're problem aware, and they want a fix for their problem. Now with Google Ads, I would say it's very useful as well, because you can reach out to the same people. Why not just use Google Ads? Would you say that Google Ads are becoming too expensive to do that, to rely on them, or?
Yeah, I think you've got that. Google Ads, the minute your budget's gone, your ad's gone and your competition is taking all the leads. So I think, from that perspective, there's high competition in every industry is increasing year on year. The cost of some of these paid ads, certainly in some niches, can run into hundreds of pounds per click in competitive spaces. Who has that money to burn on something like that? Who wants to continue? So I speak at conferences and I've had people going, yeah, man, I turn over $1 million a month, blah, 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 blah. The big thing they're not telling you is they spent $999,000 dollars
Ads, yeah.
ranking, paying for ads, traffic, so they're not actually making any money.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a sustainable business model. You have to get X amount of traffic to get X amount of people into your website, to get X amount of leads, sales, and everything else. And again, with SEO, you get a much bigger return on your investment. So I think it's the wrong thing to sit there and hemorrhage money after money after money. Now, that might work for some people, and that's fine if you're lucky enough to be in a market where the costs are low and all that kind of stuff. But I think, at the end of the day, we want more profit.
No, definitely. I would say the scary part about Google Ads is that in the last 3 years, it got 248% more expensive. That's sick. if you as a business owner are still relying on that and you have no other form of marketing in general, I don't think you should always rely on one marketing channel in general. Like with SEO, there's still the danger of Google updates. And sometimes even if you perfectly tick every box, you still can get hit, you still can get hurt. If you are just relying on one marketing channel, then I think you're risking a lot of your business. Well, whether it's just being an idiot or whether you don't have the skills, I don't think it's a risk you should be taking. Have you seen occasions like that in your years where people just flat out lost their business by relying on one marketing channel?
Yeah, it's seen it happen a million times. I've seen people solely rely on SEO, for example, the topic that I love, and only focusing on SEO, and have been slammed by an update for one reason or another,
Yeah.
and basically been wiped out. If that's your only cash flow that's coming into the business, then it's ridiculous. Whether it's diversifying your traffic sources or whether it's diversifying your income streams, you have to make sure that all your eggs are not in one basket.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something I find that's ridiculously easy to do, but it's just often intimidating, because I think SEO is something easy to get into because in the end it's very straightforward, right? Um, I think the big issue with SEO is more so finding trustable sources to learn. But then Facebook ads, for example, is very data driven. It has a higher entry level, which in one way is actually very pleasing because I think one of the dangers of SEO is actually the low entry level barrier, especially for agency owners. Now, of course, for people like me, people like you, that has also proven to be quite useful as I don't have a formal education. I don't know if you do.
Nope.
No, so the low entry barrier, I would say, has its good things, but there's also a lot of scamming involved in that way. People, well, I'm not sure if it's scamming really. Like sure, the action is scamming, but I don't think those people are fully aware, like how little they know about SEO. Would you say that you ever had occasions where you were accused of doing something like that when you just knew that you were booking results?
Have a It's a difficult one.
Yeah,
It's not. It's not. As I say, I've not been in that situation myself.
yeah,
However, you put yourself into a client's point of view. Do they think they've been scammed? Potentially.
yeah,
That's there. I've had people go, "You fucking took my money." I've had guys that have fell off
exactly.
of being an SEO after 2 or 3 months. They've just not given us enough time to provide results. I'm sure if you asked them, they would say it was a bloody scam and this and
Yeah,
that. And there's scams in every, whether it be Facebook or whatever. Obviously my job is not to scam someone, but if someone doesn't give you enough time to do your job properly or doesn't give you enough budget to do your job properly, and that's even down to Facebook ads, if you're not spending enough money on it, that's a problem, and it might not give you the return on investment. Is that a scam? Nah, it's not. For me, it's not a scam. I get from the other person's point of view, they might see it as a scam, but that's just lack of education.
yeah, but I also think that's often like, of course, I own multiple agencies, so I get this every now and then. But I also think partially of that, the partial reason behind that is also the failure of SEO agencies failing to educate their client. I mean, vetting your clients is key. Like if you're just going to be money focused, you're going to get yourself burned in the long run. Had that before. Obviously I learned by doing things. I don't like to sit around. Um, and educating your clients, that's part two. Like if you're just presenting reports as an SEO, I think your clients are going to get very frustrated with you because they have no clue what you're presenting them. They don't know the difference between a good backlink and a bad backlink. Now, about backlinks, you've given me a lot of advice on backlinks actually across the years. And this one time you sent me people per hour. Is that something you would still do? Like look for cheap links in people per hour, or would you say that it's nowadays even more regulated and you should go after the big fish?
I mean, I think the there is a lot of shit in people per hour. Let's not kid ourselves. There is a load of trash on there.
Yeah,
However, the people who have editorial access to some of the bigger sites,
yeah,
the first place they'll probably go and list their gig is on a site like People Per Hour. So
yeah,
there are games on there, and you will get them at a much lower cost than you would going direct. So, I like to use People Per Hour as a guide. So if someone says, I've got this and it costs you X, Y, and Z, then I'll go and check what the going rate for that is in People Per Hour. And if I can get it in People Per Hour for half the price or a quarter of the price, then
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people actually should check sites like people per hour, because I think backlinks nowadays are being sold at a ridiculous price. Obviously, people are becoming more aware of it. So I would say, yeah, it's an easy way to catch some cheap links of decent quality. You just have to do your due diligence. You have to check. Now we're running out of time right now. So I'm very thankful for you to appear on my podcast. It means the world to me. For people who don't know this, I have bothered Craig a lot in the past with questions, especially when I was beginning with no money. This guy helped me get started, launch my career by interviewing me, giving me the tips, giving me all the guidance that I could ask for. So if you are a beginning business owner, if you intend to get into the digital marketing space and you want to start your business, then get on a consultation call with Craig, because I am literally, well, the result of a good consultation call. I can prove, like, I can tell you that, like, he has helped me a lot, and his guidance was always straight to the point, no bullshitting. So yeah, I would definitely get on that.
Thank you, mate. Nah, it's great to see you doing well, and glad that it's good to see you working your way up in the industry and doing good things. So it was always a pleasure, mate.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Is there something you would like to say to people listening?
Um, Not too much. If you want to follow me for more tips, you can go on my YouTube channel or just search for Craig Campbell SEO. You'll find me in some social media platform, talking somewhere or sharing tips. So please do give me a follow on one of those or check out my YouTube channel. That is all I've really got to offer.
Awesome. Thank you for appearing, man.
No worries, mate. Take it easy.
You too.
Oh boy.